Welcome back to this installment of the Voices in Cloth series. I'm John Cole Morgan, and I'm very pleased to say I am joined by Carole Green today. Carole, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Pleased to meet you.
And you, it feels like we've spoken so many times. It's nice to put a face to the name properly. Carole, tell us a little bit about you and your quilting journey.
Um, I've sewn all my life. My mother was a dressmaker, but I only started actually really quilting about 22 years ago, just before my granddaughter was born. And I was busy doing a running stitch around some insect motifs. And a good friend of mine came in and she said, "Oh, you're quilting." So that's when I became a quilter.
You were quilting before you even knew you were.
Yeah.
So have you made all of your family quilts?
Yes, we've got 4 grandchildren and they've all got at least two each. And I've made previously hundreds for charity quilts. It's great practice.
It really is. Have you ever
Yeah,
made yourself a quilt?
yes. Yeah,
Good.
we've got one on our bed.
And you've got that
And
gorgeous one behind you. That is an amazing
yes,
piece.
yeah, I think that's the best one I've ever made.
It's gorgeous because that was at Stellenbosch, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And
and
I think, if I'm
previously,
not mistaken, were you hanging behind Roy Doedtke's Dear Jane quilt?
oh, I'm not sure. I wasn't there.
Oh, it was beautiful. I remember seeing that piece. It's gorgeous because
Yeah,
that's called Les Pascalia or Passaglia.
yeah, La Pascaglia.
It's,
But I've named it the Blaze of Glory.
oh, gorgeous. But I
Yeah,
love the way you've differentiated the circles by popping that black fabric around the circle. It's
yeah,
really
I
popped
love
beautifully.
working with red, so this year's festival is perfect.
It is. So what's your favorite bit about quilting?
I enjoy all the processes from choosing the fabric, cutting the fabric, making it. I'm also a quilt teacher, and it's lovely when you get it, especially a very new quilter, and seeing them grow and absorb, you know, things that you know and all the terms that quilters use. And for a new quilter, it's so confusing. But to teach someone and see them grow is fantastic.
It is very
Yeah.
special. What's your top tip for new quilters?
Start slowly, make a 9 patch and perfect that. Start slowly. Everybody wants to do something like what's behind me, but that's not for a new quilter. But you've got to start, um, disappearing 9 patch or blooming 9 patch is perfect for a new quilter.
I do think that is a very good tip because I know for myself, I decided to do a log cabin very poorly, but
Oh, that's
I did a king size one, which was just ridiculous, and then tried to wrestle it through my tiny 60-pound sewing machine. So
yeah. I think I did a log cabin first. I think I threw it away. The teacher was horrified. I used old curtain material, and she was. I think I just threw it in the bin eventually, but now I can do it properly.
do you have a worst bit of quilting, the thing you don't like the most?
When you've finished a quilt top, you've got to iron it, and it goes on forever, and you've got to iron every seam because it's got to lay flat. And whether you quilt it by hand or someone else is going to quilt it, it's got to lie flat. So I'm not very keen on that ironing. I don't
That's a
mind all
good
the
point.
processes throughout, but that I could do without.
I like that idea. And do you quilt them yourself? Do you send them out?
I have previously done a lot of bed quilts by hand. I enjoy hand quilting, but now I find it not so easy. But I've got a good friend that's a super long arm quilter, and she does them for me.
Wonderful. And whereabouts are you based?
Port Elizabeth,
Wonderful. And how long have you been there?
about 12 years. We retired to PE from Cape Town.
Wonderful. And have you got a good quilting community where you are?
Fabulous. The Dyes Quilters. Um, Dyes Quilters is one of the oldest guilds in South Africa, and it's a very vibrant, lively guild.
How often do you meet?
Once a month, a local school hall, which is quite close to where I live. And then once a week, I go to a small sewing group called Quilters,
Mhm.
and they've been going since 1986, the same year as the Guild.
Wonderful. So just a
So,
phase, really.
yeah, but some of the original members are still in the group.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. 40 years, almost 40 years later.
Yeah, our oldest member is 92, um, and there's a few in their 80s, and then the younger ones were only 60s and 70s.
Love it. I belong to a very small group which is run in somebody's house and everything's hand sewing. You haven't got space for machines. And the oldest lady, I've got to get this right, 96, 93, 88,
Wow.
84, 78. And the youngest member, who was 67, she died recently, but these five are still going
Oh,
strong. And
you never know.
my favorite thing about it is they used to pay 10 pence every time they went. So what's that, 2 rand 50? Every time you go. And then biscuits had gone up in price, so now it's 20 pence. So I said, look, I'm not going to, we don't deal with cash anymore. I don't have,
No,
I handed the lady a £5 note and she says, no, no, my books won't balance. I don't like that.
that's for the year.
She wouldn't take it because her books wouldn't balance. But I
No.
think these guilds are really special. And what I love is the older people in the guilds and the groups, they've got so much knowledge to share, and I learn so
Yeah,
much from them.
yeah, and not just quilting. We share recipes, books,
Life.
life. Yeah.
What's your best advice for people who are just starting out quilting?
Join a small group or come to the guild. The guild can be quite daunting when you walk into a room or a school hall of over 100 women. But if you've got one contact, and then she'll introduce you to her friends and her friends, and go to a festival. That's the most exciting thing there is.
Really is. Are you coming to the festival in July?
No, unfortunately, I can't this year, but I
That's
will
right.
be going to the next festival after this one is in PE.
So you'll be
So
running it.
no, I hope to be teaching or giving a couple of talks.
So tell me, why did you decide to take part in Voices in Club?
I love a challenge. And I thought it was a fantastic idea of yours, and especially to promote quilters in South Africa, because the standard in South Africa is very high.
It
I've
is.
been to quilt shows in the States and in the UK, and South Africa equally matches those. So
If not more so in some ways. Because
well, I don't want to.
I was quite impressed with the amount of handwork that was done at the last show. Because it like
Yeah,
the piece like yourself, and then Roy Duitke's Dear Jane, and there was another lady's Dear Jane. It was a really
yeah.
impressive.
I I don't know of many younger ones that are doing hand quilting, but certainly quite a few of my friends are far better than me in it. But we've
Well,
got
you're
some
pretty
good
good in
teachers.
my book, so I don't think you're doing anything wrong there.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your piece. You've called it Tralala.
Um, yeah, the if you look at the very center of the quilt, there's a lady. She's actually holding a cigarette in a, what do you call, a cigarette holder. But I cut that piece off, and she looks as if she's singing and projecting her voice, and it's going round and round, as in tra la la. So
What gave you the idea?
I have loads of red scrap fabric, so that was easy. And when I had just a few scraps of that fabric, and I thought it looked like someone singing, so um, it came quite quickly.
It's a beautiful piece. And do you sing yourself?
No, definitely not.
What do you think will be the outcome of this project?
Oh, I think it's going to make people aware of how many quilters there are in South Africa and the wide variety of their work. As you can probably tell by the miniature quilts, they're all totally different from what I'm guessing. But I think it would just really promote South African quilters in a good way.
Well, I think
So,
the talent and things that I've seen, I've not seen them all in person yet, but certainly the pictures that the lovely ladies have been collecting the pieces, they're
Yeah,
extraordinary. There's such amazing talent. There really is.
yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, Port Elizabeth is a small city, and I mean, we've got nearly 200 members, and that we still meet people that don't even come to the guild. So there are more than even come to the guild, and that's a small place, you
Mm.
know.
But it is,
But
and I
yeah,
found, because what was it, 5 weeks before the deadline, I was panicking because we only had 52 quilts, and I was like, gosh, that's not even going to fill a wall. How on earth are we going to do
yeah,
this?
and mine was one of them.
You were one of the first to come in. It was great.
Yeah,
But
I like to enter on time.
the because it was quite daunting having only 57 and then thinking, gosh, we're not going to have enough
Yeah,
to fill anything. But then we've got over 230 now, which is just marvelous.
yeah, people just don't get going. But
We're very last minute, the South Africans. I love it.
yeah, no, I enter if I'm going to be there, I'll be there on time.
Do you think there's anything that makes South African quilters different to the quilters of the rest of the world?
Um, I think for a lot of us, fabric is difficult to get hold of. I mean, in Port Elizabeth, we've only got one quilt shop, and it's difficult. I don't like buying fabric online particularly. So we treasure what we can get. But I've also met, um, I haven't spoken to them personally, but I've got a friend in Zimbabwe.
Mhm.
And I mean, we're really lucky. I mean, they grab at anything they can get. So, but I mean, in Cape Town, there's several quilt shops. So, um, I think you value what you've got, and also you learn to use everything. You know, and I don't throw anything away. Um, and I also belong to, um, I think it started about 4 years ago now. We've got a fibre art group in PE called TAPE, which is Textile Art Port Elizabeth. And they're a very vibrant, noisy, enthusiastic group. We're putting on an
Sounds like the
exhibition.
best type of group, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, don't come for a quiet afternoon. We're holding a exhibition in October this year at the local GFI gallery, and it's all textile art, which really throws you out of your comfort zone.
I can imagine.
And this year the theme is unsettled, meaning in the African context. And it's in conjunction with the Historical Society of South Africa. Have got a big conference at the university, and it's on the same time as our exhibition. 16 of us are doing a panel each, following the Barkens Valley or the Barkens River. So there's these 16 panels, and halfway through making each panel, we've got to swap with another quilter, which is very unsettling.
I
And
was
they
going to
carry on
say.
with the piece. But what we've seen so far, it's going to be a fabulous exhibition. It's going to be really good.
So what's next for you in your quilting journey, aside from what's going on with tape?
Well, I'm making this panel, and I've just got um, a friend of mine who I've got to swap with. She just started working on her panel, and she broke her arm. So
Is
I've
that Angie?
virtually, yeah,
Oh no!
just broken her arm. So now I've got to make her panel as well, but she'll carry on as soon as the cast is off of her arm.
Well, knowing
But
Angie, she'll try and do it with the cast on her off.
well, we've tried to tell her to keep it on as long as possible,
So,
but she's fabulous. I mean,
yeah.
so many ideas and new ways of doing things, which coming from a traditional quilter background, it really throws you out of your comfort zone. But it's so enjoyable um, once you achieve it.
Is there anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to share?
No, I think the tape was one thing that I wanted to mention. Um, I can't think of anything else. Is that enough?
It's absolutely wonderful. It's perfect. Thank you so much, Carole, for joining us. I'm so grateful for your time today. It was lovely to talk to you, and we'll catch you again next time. Bye-bye.
Hi, my name's Carole Green. I live in Port Elizabeth in South Africa. We live very near to the beach. This morning we went for a long walk on the beach. My piece that I made for the project is called Tralala. There's a lady in the center, a very tiny picture, which you have to get up very close to it. The whole piece is made of 1/4-inch hexagons. All my friends tell me that I'm crazy, but I love it. And I've made several projects with 1/4-inch hexagons. And it shows a picture of a lady singing, and the hexagons go round and round in a circle as the tra-la-la, and that's the name of my piece.